Hey everybody, Mark Burgess here, Big East Bass Fishing. Today I am with Joe Currier, okay? We have something very special for you here that a lot of you have been asking about, commenting about, and I can't wait to get into it, all right? So kind of set this up for you. We're basically going to be talking about the Massachusetts State Record Largemouth Bass, which happens to be 15 pounds, 8 ounces, caught by Walter Balloonist, allegedly, in Sampson's Pond in Carver, okay, in 1975, so 50 years. So this is a 50-year record for Massachusetts. We're going to get into a lot of the questions that you have regarding this fish. Supposedly caught through the ice, and so we're going to talk about all that. Joe and I have our thoughts and opinions, and Joe is going to tell a story that he's been wanting to tell for 50 years. Okay.
Well, not necessarily wanting to tell.
Right.
I've been actually kind of afraid to tell.
And actually the original video, I posted it to YouTube, and then I put the link on to Facebook, and that's where you saw it, and you saw all the comments.
Right.
Okay? And that's pretty much what led to you and I speaking about, hey, let's get this out and, no pun intended, set the record straight, all right?
I hope.
So, Joe, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about you, your background, you're like where you've been fishing for a long time.
Yeah, I grew up in West Bridgewater, the Brockton area. My stepfather was Robert M. Sylvia. His first wife was Helen Balloonist Sylvia, and Walter was his sister.
I was going to ask you how you knew Walter.
Right.
Yeah.
Robert Sylvia had a horse farm, and I spent all my free time on this horse farm. He trained racehorses. Walter was kind of a staple around there because he kind of had a tough life. He was basically just a shoe worker in a factory. He didn't really have much to look forward to. He lived alone, didn't really have a girlfriend.
Now, did he fish?
He did. He loved fishing.
Now, you were a lot younger then, obviously.
I was 12.
12.
Right.
Now, did he get you into fishing, bass fishing?
Only by
this fish. Okay.
Only by this fish.
So I know you ended up joining Bass, lifetime membership.
Yeah, in the 80s.
In the 80s.
Yeah.
I know you fished the Mass Federation.
Mass Federation, Club. ABA,
yeah.
Local clubs.
Yeah.
Reynolds Marine.
Okay, so right. Yeah, you and I have been
Sandy's
in
Trail.
the same circles. Yeah.
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 Walt was he was a nice fellow, and he was a regular around the barn.
Yeah.
I was 12 years old, and he made me feel like one of the grown-ups. I smoked cigarettes when I wasn't supposed to, and Walt would sneak me a butt, whatever,
Yeah.
He was, like I said, he kind of didn't have a great life. He was just a kind of dumpy little guy that nobody paid attention to, right? But a nice human being in my perspective at 12 years old.
Yeah.
Right? And he was good to me, right? So I can remember the day he rolled up in his van from his Florida vacation, and he said, "I got something to show you." And I was like, "What?" And he opens the sliding door to the van, and there's a 55-gallon thing. He said, "Take a look in there." And I couldn't really see the fish, so he kind of pulls them halfway out, and I went, "Whoa!" Right? And I had no idea about fishing at that point. I was 12.
Right.
Right? But I was mesmerized. So then
Yeah,
Bob,
I think anybody would be.
right?
Probably had an eye on it.
Oh, I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a dinosaur, for God's sakes.
Now, we were talking before, you that fish kind of led you to fishing your whole
Absolutely.
life, right?
Yeah.
I can see where it was.
It was like the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to do that. I wanted to,
Right.
you know, I'm like, okay, I want to do that. I want to catch one of those. Right?
Don't we all?
And of course, it never materialized. I mean,
you try. That's the whole.
I was trying and trying. And then I realized it wasn't going to happen. Right?
You don't know. I mean,
I'd have to go down to Florida to do it, to be honest with you.
Exactly. Yeah.
I knew the fish had come from Florida. My stepfather and Walter were talking over how they were going to maintain this fish, right? All right, you're going to cut him up, you're going to eat him. Walter says, no, I want to submit him for a state record. And my stepfather was like all aboard because he was turned a few sharp left corners in his lifetime, so he was all on board. So they had to take a horse trough and put it in the barn because it was January. It was bloody cold. They needed to keep this fish in a warm climate. Right? So they decided they were going to take this horse trough, like one of the silver ones you see at Tractor Supply. Right? And put it in one of the stalls in the barn, fill it with the well water that the barn supplied, so there was no chemicals in it, and put this fish in there with an aerator and keep them alive.
I was surprised the fish didn't get shocked.
Well,
the difference. I mean, end of January.
They brought him up with ice in the water.
Oh, okay.
The whole way.
Because I mean, that back in Florida, January, water could have been 60 degrees down there.
Right.
You know.
I would think.
Wow.
I don't know. I was 12, but when Walter arrived in the 55-gallon drum, he had bags of ice in the water.
So it was pretty lethargic.
Right.
Yeah, it's just slowing the fish metabolism down.
I assume.
That's probably smart.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they don't use as much oxygen that way.
Made a 24-hour drive. That fish made a 24-hour drive from Florida.
So Walter actually went to Florida?
Yeah, he was down in Florida on his annual fishing trip.
Okay.
Right? Staying at his sister's condo.
Yeah.
Right? And when he came back, that's when he arrived at the barn. That's the first place he came when I believe. He might have gone to the bar first. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
Right?
There's a lot of stories.
I can't speak to that.
Right.
Right? But what I can speak to is he rolled up into the barn and showed us this fish. And he told Bob, Sylvia, and myself, I was the kid. So he thought the only people that would know would be Bob and the kid.
Right.
The kid, you know.
You being the kid.
I was the kid.
Right.
Right? I was 12 years old.
Well, so let's back up a little bit. So, that was 1975.
Correct.
50 years ago.
Correct.
You know, I think everybody believes that the fish was not caught on Samson's Pond. And you can look back at the comments on the YouTube video and the Facebook video, which is the same video, it's just a link. But the comments, people have put in there. Most of us, like my whole life, I mean, my dad had a tackle shop in Randolph that most people are familiar with.
Yep.
We were all aware of this fish and the wreck it.
Right.
And that, like, after, you and I have obviously fished around here our whole lives.
Mm-hmm.
We know, at least I'm pretty sure, that a pond like Samson's Pond could not sustain a fish like that.
I don't believe so.
For a number of reasons. One, there's no food.
Right.
Two, there's no real structure or deep enough water. You're not an overly weedy pond, a lot of rock, as you know.
Right.
And then the story was, the rumors were that it was caught on the Agawam River chain, which most of us are very well aware of.
Right.
That, you know, it's a herring run fed body of water.
That doesn't freeze over.
That doesn't freeze over for the most part.
Right.
But it's got deep water. It's got all that food.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the cover, a lot of weed, you know. And then it's part of a chain that's kind of infamous too, Glen Charlie,
Charlie,
Stumpy Pond,
right. White Island.
White Island. I mean, all big, and many big fish have been caught on that section, okay? And people believe that the fish was caught there. So no one's really knocking Walter for, because a lot of us probably would have done the same thing. You know, as we caught that fish, we would have said it was caught in the Agawam versus Sampson's.
If I caught it locally, I certainly wouldn't have given away the
Where you
honey
caught
hole of where I caught it.
Right. So no,
Right.
I think everyone's on board with that.
Right.
A lot of people believe that it was caught on the Agawam. There's some other bodies of water thrown out there that it was caught on. And that's, I mean, that's, yeah, no one's going to question that.
That's their prerogative to believe that.
Right. Well, no one...
I can't
there can be
convince
no
them
reason
of
for
what
anyone
my
to believe.
experience was in my lifetime.
Right.
Right? All I can do is relay what I experienced as 12 years old.
Right.
And what I heard and saw when I was 12 years old.
Right.
And I learned this information when I was 12, so I didn't know what I learned. I didn't understand what I learned. I didn't understand the ramifications of it. What bothered me later as I became an adult and became more serious in the bass fishing community was I was carrying around this baggage. And I was carrying around this kind of lie, and I felt kind of dirty about it.
Mm-hmm.
So at a couple of points in my communication with other fishermen and people that I knew about the record, I kind of floated the idea in my 30s about what really happened. And the feedback was negative, and it was going to be, you know, it was ridiculing me, right? So I said to myself, well, you know, I'm not going to fight this battle right now, you know?
Right.
But at some point, I felt like I needed to, and this is now as an adult, I need to kind of live clean, and I need to be clean about what I've seen, what I've done.
Yeah.
Right? And I saw this, and this is kind of a dirty thing to kind of hang on to forever. So I kind of just want it not to be just mine to carry.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, now everyone involved, pretty much except for you, has passed on.
Right.
Much.
Bob Sylvia's passed on.
Yeah.
Walter's passed on. I believe might be Eddie Piver and Mike Toohey, because they were regulars around the barn. They probably knew.
Yeah.
But both of those gentlemen have passed on. So I don't know. Maybe a couple buddies that he used to hang out with at the bar.
Yeah.
Because he had a bar he used to hang out with. I don't know which one it was. Might have been Cape Cod Cafe or another one. I don't know. But he used to go hang out at the pub. Mm-hmm. And maybe a couple of buddies that he used to hang out with might have had the same information. But
not a lot of people.
I don't think he shared much about that, because my gut is there was an empty spot in Walt, and Walt filled it with that.
Right.
You know,
yeah,
that's my gut. As looking at it as an adult rather than a child.
Right, right, and some of it you can only just speculate.
Right,
you know,
right.
What the frame of mind was.
Right.
And I think you're probably spot on with a lot of that. One of the conversations we had was, you know, how you were privy to the conversation.
Right.
At the barn with the fish in the tank.
Right.
About what they were going to actually do with it.
Right.
So that's kind of amazing, really, that you're part of that conversation, that we're going to submit it for a record, right?
I'm a 12-year-old nobody.
Right. It's not, you can think of it's like you didn't catch it, but you were there to witness the fish, knowing it came up from Florida.
Right.
They put it in this 300-gallon tank.
Yep.
Kept it alive for, what are you thinking, a week or two, maybe?
Maybe two.
Right.
Time and space at 12 years old, you don't.
Yeah.
It was school vacation, so.
Yeah.
That's all I can.
And then you can speculate, like we talked about. people that I've spoken to a lot of people about this.
Mm-hmm.
And most people believe it wasn't, caught on Sampson's. It was caught in the Agawam River, but it was legit. It's not a Florida strain bass. And I got to say, after looking at the picture, like studying the picture, which I've been looking at the picture a lot, and I've fished all over the country, it looks like a Florida strain bass now that I look at it.
Right.
But it really didn't hit me until one of my close friends caught a 9-1 earlier this past March. How beautiful, a northern strain largemouth bass is.
Right.
Okay. And it was like,
they have a different shape,
a whole different look,
a different hue, a different,
yes.
Everything.
Right. So that kind of stood out to me as well. And other people the other thing was, it's not a 15-pound bass, but Walter was
definitely
not,
50 pounds.
Yeah, he's not a small man.
Well, he wasn't tall. He was like 5'6", 5'7", but he was heavy.
And he's not going like this with
right.
a 5-pounder. I mean, this thing is like tight to his body. And
right.
It has a big gut, almost like that fish might have been even going to spawn down
right.
there. Okay.
Yeah.
So that the other speculation that you and I were talking about was that it was all planned. Because people say, they told me today, hey, we saw him on the ice at Sampson Pond. So he was ice fishing.
All day.
But he was the last one. No one saw him come off the ice.
Right.
Okay. So, and then there was the whole barroom thing. He shows up with this fish.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're just kind of putting the pieces of the puzzle together because we don't know.
I don't have the knowledge that it was a dog and pony show.
Right.
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 But I know where the fish was. I know where it came from, and I know what the plan was to submit it for a state record.
Yeah.
And at 12, like I said, I'm trying to absolve myself of responsibility here because
you don't have
at 12 years old, I don't have any control.
You don't
over
have
what's happening in front of me.
Right.
Right.
There's you bear no responsibility.
Right. So I don't. These adults are doing this. I know they're doing it. I know it's my responsibility to keep my bleeping mouth shut.
Right.
Right. Because if I don't get to hang out with the grown-ups anymore who sneak me cigarettes and every once in a while a beer.
Right.
Yeah. So it's my job to just shut up and, watch it happen. So do I know how they
pulled it off?
Perpetrated the ruse? No, I don't have knowledge of how they perpetrated the ruse. If I were to surmise, I would guess that he planned what day he was going to do it, and I would guess that he put the fish in a bucket and went out on the ice with the fish in a bucket, and he was hoping somebody would see him lugging that fish off the ice.
I mean, I haven't. Maybe somebody did. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people about it since this last video was posted. No one's claimed that. Maybe there is. There have been some people saying, that in certain circles, like they'll just insist that it was caught, like on the Agawam River or whatever.
Right.
But they don't actually know.
Right.
Okay. I mean, to put all the pieces together, you were there when the fish came up from Florida in the van, and then in a 55-gallon drum.
Correct.
Transferred to a 300-gallon horse trough.
Correct. In a
kept alive.
In a heated horse barn.
Heated horse barn. Kept alive. How long do you think he kept it alive?
A week or two. Like I said, it was school vacation, and I got to spend more time around the barn that time.
Yeah, I would have been.
So, I was staring at him every day. I got to feed him. What did he eat? They was feeding him native shiners from Furnace Pond.
Okay.
And I got to go with Walter to Furnace Pond with bread dough.
Yeah.
They didn't have the Berkeley colored dough like they had now.
Right.
So we would wad up bread dough.
He caught golden shiners.
Regular shiners from Furnace Pond at the time. Furnace Pond, way in the back where the herring run is.
Yeah.
The ice would get thin.
Yeah.
So he'd just poke through the ice, and we'd put the little bread dough down there and catch 5 or 6, 10 shiners, and he'd eat them like crazy. I mean, he threw them in there, they didn't have no place to go. That fish would go boom.
Would have been even cooler if he went to my dad's shop in Randolph and bought those. But that would have. I remember.
But I don't know.
Right.
But I'm guessing that the whole reason for the keeping him around for a couple of weeks and feeding him native shiners was to make sure that he didn't have any Florida food in his gut when the state inspected the fish.
Did they inspect the fish?
I would assume so.
Really?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
I mean, you submit a state record, wouldn't they do a necropsy on the fish?
I haven't. I have never
I don't.
done that.
You know,
so
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not privy to that information, but I would surmise they do a necropsy,
Right.
right? And I would surmise the whole reason for feeding the fish would
Yeah.
be to make sure that his gut had nothing but native food in it.
Yeah. Maybe to get to a better, like a safe ice situation, maybe. Buy yourself a little more time. Possibly.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't have that information.
Yeah. So I know, you know, some people have said that, you know, he brought it to a bar to show him. Supposedly right after he caught it. No one saw him come off the ice, but he came with the fish like in a bucket to show people. Maybe that's where that photograph was taken. I don't know. I can't make a heads tails out of with that background.
To me, that
you know?
that photograph
Yeah.
looks like Helen's basement.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's probably a good time. We're gonna. I'll post a picture right now of the fish if you haven't seen it. Okay. So I'll do the same thing I did in the last video. So we'll do that right now.
Because he lived with us
Yeah.
in West Bridgewater, and Helen's home was in Brockton at the horse farm. So she kept the house at the horse farm, and Bob moved in with us at West Bridgewater.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, it wasn't uncommon for him to say, "Oh, let's go over there." And he actually had a helicopter in his basement, a half-built helicopter. He bought one of those gyrocopters,
Right.
and tried to build it. He tried to build it in his basement. He got it all built, and he couldn't get it out.
Yeah. A little planning would have gone a long way. Yeah.
That's a kind of cool story. That's
a whole nother story. Yeah. Any memories of after it was submitted for a state record?
Other than
life just went on, right?
Yeah, life just went on. Walt kept, he came to the barn every couple of days, and I'd be there shoveling poop or walking hots. I'd walk the horses around the circles while they cooled off. So because after they trained around the track, had a little racetrack there. It's only like a quarter mile, little training track.
Yeah.
But I'd walk the horses till they cooled off until they got a mechanical horse walker.
Yeah.
Right? Saved me a lot of work.
Yeah.
But I'd be there either cleaning stalls or whatever, and Walt would come over, and then that was an excuse for me to kind of sneak a cigarette.
Right.
And usually at night, Walt would. It was usually 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Walt would almost always stop by for a couple of beers with Bob, and they'd slip me one at 12, 13 years old, and I'd get one and nothing else.
Yeah.
And if Bob was not looking, I said, "Well, sneak me another one," and he'd sneak me another one.
Part of being a kid.
And he was good to me.
Yeah.
He was good to me. So it was hard to. It's kind of hard to. Say something bad about him.
Yeah. I mean,
it was a bad thing that he did, and it took a lot for me to.
Yeah.
Actually say something to somebody.
And I know, you and I are talking, some people have asked, why now, 50 years, and that was when I'm
63 years old. I need to die with a clean conscience.
Yeah. And that was, when I said I had one question for you, and you guessed at the question, like, I was going to ask, like, why now after all this time? And that's what you'd said. Other people like, well, how come they're asking the same question, like thinking that you just come out of the blue with it. It wasn't you saw my video, and you saw the comments, and that's what
it just kind of triggered all these made up bogus comments. He was caught here, he was caught there. I know for a fact this. They know nothing.
Yeah.
They know nothing. Right. And everyone that says they know something is full of crap.
Right. Because you were there.
Because I was there and I saw it. And if they want to make up a bunch of stories, good for them.
Yeah.
Right? And if it strokes their ego to think that they know something, good for them. This ain't stroking my ego. This is hurting my feelings.
I mean, you and I were texting back and forth quite a bit.
Right.
And this our first conversation on the phone, and I've told people this, that since that talk, I said, do you believe him? I said, absolutely. I said, I just from that first conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason for this video is because, social media is what social media is.
They're gonna destroy me. They're gonna kick me.
No, I mean, maybe so, but I mean, you gotta keep in mind that happens to every single person on social media.
Right. Kevin Van gets kicked. I get it.
Right. You have thick skin, okay?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
it is what it is.
Right.
Okay, they call them keyboard warriors.
And,
it is, everyone's gonna.
Like
I don't
said,
care how positive the story is. They're gonna have something.
I'm
negative to
63
say.
years old at this point.
Right.
I'm right now on my third battle with cancer.
Oh, God
I'm
bless you.
done. I'm
Look
done
good.
tournament fishing because of it. I'm not. I just can't handle a full day of fishing.
Yeah.
But I still fish for fun.
Yeah.
And I still go out on Lake Champlain, and I'll
Awesome.
get on the water at
No
5 in the morning, and I'll be done at noon, 1 o'clock. But I run the lake,
Right.
right? And I have a good time.
Oh, that's the place to go.
So,
Yeah.
if people want to believe otherwise, that's just their belief, and it's going on in their brain,
Yeah.
and there's nothing going on in their gut. Because if they really think about what they actually saw, it's nothing.
Right. It's not. It's. I'll say secondhand, third hand,
Right.
who knows how many hand information from someone who said something about somebody that saw something that's,
Right.
that's not the same
Peter's
as,
brother's sister said his uncle saw the fish. Blah, blah, blah,
you're
blah,
not,
blah, right?
they weren't 12 years old when the van pulls up with your close family friend Walter with a 15-pound largemouth bass in a barrel.
An absolute dinosaur.
And put it in a 300-gallon tank and help go catch the food,
Right.
feed the fish,
Oh,
and then but you don't have any memory of it going from the 300. All of a sudden you come in and there's no.
Yeah, he's gone.
There's no 50.
no, I come in one day to
And the fish
clean the
is
stalls, the fish is gone.
Fish is gone.
Gone.
Yeah, and I'm wondering when back then you submit a fish for a record, they kill the fish pretty much, right?
That's my understanding.
Yeah. People have shown me pictures of a replica, I'm guessing, that's on the wall.
At the Dunkin' Donuts, I saw that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a skin mount of the fish? do you
I
know?
wish. I
You know,
wish.
but you
DNA would prove it, wouldn't it? Couldn't they get DNA from a skin mount?
From a 50-year-old skin mount, maybe.
Would be nice if we could, huh?
Yeah. I don't know if there is a skin mount.
I-
Unless it was maintained, like kept out of the sun
right.
in an area that wasn't too dry or whatever.
I had an 8-pound skin mount, and I ruined
They go
it.
bad.
I ruined
They
it.
go bad. Yeah.
I left it in terrible places.
Yeah.
I was, in my
they get-
20s and 30s and
they get
moving
bad.
around, and,
Right.
and it just got ruined. The tail
Right.
got broke off here, and the
Yeah.
fin got broke off there, and
Yeah.
it got to the point where it just didn't have any value to me,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because I mishandled it and didn't do it right.
And then monetarily, switching gears a little bit, I mean, I don't know in 1975 if there was any monetary value. And I don't know if Walter, I had this conversation with a person today
I'm
about,
curious about that myself.
like, if you think, like, what options could have been available to Walter?
For marketing?
If he called up, like, Field and Stream, okay, or if let's say he was using a brand of ice trap or a brand of line,
Right.
or certain boots or crampons or whatever, say, hey, I was using
Right.
XYZ when I caught this
Right.
fish. We can write about it because back then it was all print.
Right, everything was print.
So
In Fisherman, whatever, that was the
you
only
know,
thing. Field and
right.
Stream and in Fisherman
you
was the
could
only
have
thing
got
back
some compensation from one of the manufacturers or maybe some of the equipment that was involved. I don't know if there was a prize.
then. I don't know.
or State Record.
I have no
idea.
information about that at all.
I know I got a governance cup.
I
when was a
suspected
kid.
there would have been some financial gain, but
I got
but
a,
I don't
got
know.
a cup. That's the one I got, a 16-pound bluefish. I got a cup.
Okay.
Back then.
And then they,
No money.
I know they do stupid little pins for anything
Yeah,
over
yeah.
8 pounds of mass,
Yeah.
but
So that would have definitely been. I mean, what do you get for a state record? He would have gotten like a pin. If they did they do that back then? I don't even know.
I don't know. Don't know. I know they do now, but I don't know what they did back then.
I'm just curious
Right.
as to. So I don't know where it goes from here. I think like we talked about. I think people now hearing your testimony, if you will.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what happened. I mean, if fish was caught in Florida, this is how it went down. What happens now, I don't know. Your conscience is clear.
Right.
I mean, it's out there. I just thought it was just an amazing story to hear, and I wanted to hear it firsthand. You know,
it's tough to live with.
Yeah.
You know.
How do you feel now?
Better. A little relieved.
Yeah.
A little relieved. A little, like pressures. Like there's a little bit of pressure.
That's what I thought.
Like, whew.
Yeah.
You know, it's out there.
It's out there.
Right.
Yeah.
I've tried to put it out there a couple of times. You know, in my 30s and even 40s, talking to guys that I was fishing with and stuff, and the feedback was always negative. And
you think that's where the Florida rumors started? From people saying,
I don't know.
Yeah, this guy Joe said that it was caught in Florida, you know.
I don't know, maybe,
yeah,
but you know, every bit of feedback I got was, no, you're full of guff, and it was caught here, or it was caught there, you don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, so you knew Walter? Right? And they would inevitably say, well, no, but, and I was like, well, then why are you telling me, you know, and I would drop it.
Yeah.
Because it was like, you know, why bang your head against a brick wall, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to spend the rest of my life banging my head against a brick wall, trying to prove, you know, or how do you prove a negative, right? Because they have the positive in saying the fish is a record,
right? So
how do you prove a negative, right? How do I? You know, other than my eyewitness testimony.
Yeah, that's to me. I mean, you know, if you're looking at it like if you're trying to solve a crime or something like that, you're looking at that type of evidence. Someone who was an actual eyewitness, you know, I mean, if you've got and no one else on the other side, it's all hearsay. I mean, that's going to trump that.
And this was painful. This is saying something negative about somebody I love.
Yeah.
Somebody I looked up to as a child.
Yeah, that's hard. Right? That's probably the hardest thing for you.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
Because he was a nice guy.
Nice guy. Yeah.
He was a good guy. He treated me good.
Yeah.
You know? And that's coming from a 12-year-old, I get it.
Yeah.
Because that's my perspective at the time. But he treated me good. He didn't talk down to me like I'm a grown up and you're a little kid. He talked to me like I was one of the guys.
Right. And that's a lot when you're young.
It meant everything.
And I got to think from my own perspective, you know, like we talked about earlier, no judgment on saying it was caught somewhere else. Because you look at social media now where they catch fish, the whole background's blocked out. Where'd you catch that? Oh, over here. It wasn't over there. It was over there. So I get that.
Right.
And you know, you want to think like, okay, he's taking his annual trip down to Florida, right, to see his sister, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, he stayed at his sister's condo. His sister stayed here. Okay. His sister has, or had, a condo down there that was year round.
Yeah.
They owned it. It wasn't like one of those weekly
rentals. And he was a fisherman, right?
Right.
Walter.
So he was, yes. Oh, yeah.
So when
he'd go down there with his rods and reels and fish from the bank in like farm ponds and tanks and things like that.
So I'd like to think that he went down to Florida like he did annually, caught this fish.
Monster fish.
Okay. Wanted to show people. Like 1975, there's no social media, there's no online, there's no cell phones even. So you can take a Polaroid of the fish, right? Excuse me, I suppose.
Crappy picture.
You know, it'd be a terrible picture, right? Let it go. Maybe could have got it way down there. Maybe he did. I don't know. We don't know.
I don't know.
You don't know. Wanted to come up here to show his buddies. Next, keep this fish alive. Next thing you know, the idea comes up to submit it for a record. And here we are, 50 years later.
That's all hypothetical, and I don't know what the adults were thinking.
Right.
Right? And if I said I knew what the adults were thinking when they made those decisions, I'd be full of crap.
Right. You would just...
And I'm not going to feed anybody a line of crap.
No.
I'm just going to tell them what
yeah, exactly what happened. Yeah, you can't...
This is what happened. This is what I know.
Yep.
Right? And I don't want to feed anybody a line of bull.
Right.
If you choose to...
And I don't think you are.
If you choose to have a different belief, I can't change that. Right. This is what I can do to change it.
Right.
Anything more than this, you know, you're and I can't help you.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, I can't think of. I'm sure I will after.
No, why didn't I ask him that?
I should have wrote it down.
Well, you got my number.
I do. Like I said before, it's like this thing has grown legs. So I think we're probably, unless you can think of something else to add to the story.
I just really hope I gave the people with doubts and an open mind the answers that they need, right? And for the people that have convinced themselves they know something,
how do they know?
To maybe be introspective and look at, how do you think you know?
Well, that was,
where do you think you
so
came up with that information?
I mean, I don't know. I think that's where this is going to go. To be honest with you,
Right.
I think now when this gets posted, I'll see the comments. I'll probably get the messages to anybody that can
contribute. If you can contribute the information that I've had, please do so.
Yeah.
But
so I think that'd be.
I kind of don't think you can.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
My experience says otherwise, and if you believe you can, jump right in, big fella.
Yeah. All right. I think on that note, we'll call it a night.
All right.
All right. And then we'll just sit back and, get the popcorn out.
I think there'll be some popcorn.
I do. Yeah. So this is amazing, really.
All right.
It really is.
Well,
so,
God bless.
God bless you.
All right.
Yeah. Appreciate everything.
All right.
All right.
My pleasure.
Yeah. It's been fun.
All right.
All right, everybody. There you have it. First-hand account of the 50-year-old Massachusetts State Record Largemouth Bass, 15 pounds, 8 ounces, caught by Walter Ballounis, allegedly on Sampson's Pond in Carver, Massachusetts. Okay? So, to be continued, I guess. I mean, I don't know. In my mind, that's that.
If it grows legs, I don't know.
So let's. The
only legs I want to see it grow is maybe the poor guy that caught the next biggest fish.
Yeah.
Gets recognition. I'd love to see that happen. I feel bad.
And I don't know how that does. Whether or not, I don't know if Fish and Wildlife will
I doubt that they will change anything.
I don't know.
But I feel bad for the next generation of fishermen that are out there looking for a record, and their goal is 15.8, and
15.9.
I don't think they can attain it.
In Massachusetts,
my gut says they can't attain it, and it's unfair that they can't attain it because the really nasty trick that was played on them.
Yeah. I mean, if
that's how I feel.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So I know there's a 12, and I heard of a 13. I mean, I'll have to research it more as far as if there's a record of like each fish that's been registered.
Yeah.
Like what is the next?
In the 70s, I don't know if they kept good enough records and they were as good as we'd like to see that they were.
I mean, I know people were
I know
certified.
they didn't do DNA, which is disappointing.
Yeah.
It's really disappointing.
I know people have chosen not to submit records because they didn't want to kill the fish. They just let it go.
Oh, all right.
Took pictures and waited.
All right. Did they? Nobody chose not to submit a record because it was underneath that 15.8,
and
no
idea.
They couldn't. Yeah, I would.
Without killing the fish, if I caught something that was a double digit, I'd want to have it certified. You know what I mean? And I know people watching this that have these records, certifications. I'd want to at least do that, but I wouldn't want to kill the fish in the process.
Right.
So if it meant killing the fish, I'd probably take a bunch of pictures.
Like you were saying, Texas does.
On a scale, yeah. I'd put it on a scale, like my buddy did with his 9-1. 9-1, beautiful fish.
Right.
Let it go.
Right.
And I'd have a replica made of it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's probably how I'd handle it as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, I ruined an 8-pound mount.
The skin mount.
And I had a skin mount. What's her name? Karen something in Pembroke made the mount for me. Can't remember her last name. Her husband was the dog officer. But she did a skin mount on an 8-pounder for me, and I didn't take care of it. I didn't do it justice. And I can't see myself killing another fish.
Right.
Right.
Especially if it takes so long for them to get
my own ego.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, we're gonna call it a night because Joe and I we're gonna talk fishing for the next several hours. So, all right, everybody, appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Do me a favor if you've been watching this whole time. Thank you very much. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and we'll bring you a lot more.
Peace.
All right, man.